I'm in a county that played an important role in the Industrial Revolution. Its manufacturing heritage stretches over the centuries, and I'm hoping to match that hard graft in finding a perfect house for a couple that seem to be all work and no
commute, and enable them to spend more quality time together. He would like a renovation project.
You're not having this as your workshop, sorry.
Is that right?
You have to have the garage.
And for her, there's a mystery house full of surprises.
Wow! This is not what I expected, Johnny.
Today, I'm in Yorkshire, a county renowned for its industrial heritage. However, having an area of around 6,000 square miles, it still means there's plenty of unspoilt countryside like this. And it's access to this countryside that is right at the heart of today's search.
Nicknamed God's Own County, Yorkshire is so big that it's split into 4 separate counties. North Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, South Yorkshire and the East Ridings of Yorkshire. But historically, it was once a separate kingdom altogether. The Danish Vikings made York their capital in the 9th century and ruled what was called the Danelaw, encompassing most of what we now recognise as northern and eastern England. In fact, the county proves its Nordic roots in some of the place names still in use. The famous Dales come from the Viking word Dalar, meaning valleys, and East Riding comes from Old Danish, Flyding or third. Today, Yorkshire covers a large part of northern England and a vast range of extraordinary landscapes. From the endless bleak moors to the undulating hills that roll all the way down to the coast. There's climbing, hiking and biking aplenty. Yorkshire folk have a reputation for being strong-minded, straight talkers. They're passionate about their county and some would say with good reason. As the biggest county in England, it's certainly got plenty to offer.
Time to meet today's buyers who are ready to make their very own escape to the country.
Paul, a retired financial advisor, and Linda, a senior management consultant, have been married for 5 years. They live in a large family home in Stockport, Cheshire. Both have adult children from previous relationships who have now flown the nest, so they're looking to buy their first home together.
I think we've decided now is a really good time to move because I started a new job 2 years ago, so I'm settled there now, but it's a 2-hour commute away.
I think it's always been there in the back of my mind that the travelling that she'd been making would, become too excessive over time. But I think realistically, in the last 12 months is when we've really started to think seriously that we ought to, make the move.
They're keen to downsize their property to something more manageable, but still want a home that gives them a feeling of space.
What we want in the next house are 3 bedrooms minimum, so we can have an office and a guest room, slightly larger kitchen for Linda's benefit.
It's particularly important that Paul has somewhere he can practice his DIY, so he's keen to find a property which needs some renovation.
Obviously, not a huge project, because I'm not a big fan of a huge project. Paul would be.
I wouldn't want anything like cutting out a house and starting from scratch. That's too big. I'm getting too old for that.
And there are some particular features they have in mind.
We love the period older properties with the period features inside. We particularly like the Yorkshire stone. We would even look at a new build if it was made of Yorkshire stone, although we would prefer the older properties.
But as with everything, money talks, and how much they've got to spend will dictate what they can achieve.
Our maximum budget for the move would be around £300,000. That would have to include any renovation work that was needed on any property that we found.
All work and no play clearly isn't much fun for Linda, so it's crucial that we cut her commute time, whilst Paul seems desperate for a dedicated workshop. Now, with a budget of £300,000, finding a York stone-built property and one that's within a village seems to be right at the top of their shopping list. However, whether or not this property can be a renovation project seems to be definitely up for discussion. One thing, however, is for certain. They've chosen a fantastic part of the world to look for a new home. West Yorkshire has a plethora of country paths and footpaths to satisfy anybody into outdoor pursuits. But will our properties satisfy them? Time to find out.
As Paul and Linda want to move closer to Linda's work, we'll be focusing our property search on the villages within striking distance of Wakefield. I'll be showing them some great properties in the area, but I won't reveal the prices until they've had a guess at them first. And I want to see if the mystery house could challenge what they think they want from their perfect home.
Well, Paul and Linda, welcome to a beautiful West Yorkshire morning. Now, Linda, your commute is the main driver, if you like, behind this whole move for you. What would your ideal commute be then?
Oh, if I had a job that I was 15, 20 minutes away from,
Yeah.
no more, that would be absolute perfection
more.
for me. I've never had that.
Now, Paul, you have a bit more time on your hands these days.
Yes.
I understand you're fairly keen at DIY.
Fairly keen, yes.
How keen?
Linda refers to me as a DIY freak because from her
Charming. That's nice, isn't it? Well, I'm here to show you a selection of properties. There seems to be a slight bit of discussion to be had between how much of a project I can show you. So let's gauge your reaction to the first house, and we'll go from there. All right?
Sounds great.
Just
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So, for a maximum of £300,000, Linda and Paul want to downsize to a country house that will give them 3 bedrooms, including one which could be an office, a place for Paul to do his DIY, a large eat-in kitchen, a property which isn't overlooked, preferably set on the outskirts of a village, and within easy access to open countryside. We kick off our property search in the hamlet of Hundhill, East Hardwick, which is around 3 miles from the historic town of Pontefract. East Hardwick is a pretty rural community surrounded by fields for horse and cattle grazing. It's got plenty of public footpaths for walkers, a typical English cricket club, and although it looks older, St Stephen's Church is just over 100 years old. It was consecrated by the Archbishop of York in 1874, and there's a bell ringing group who meet regularly. The hamlet of Hundhill comprises 7 buildings, all of which used to be part of the manor house. The property we're looking at is the stables.
Now, any ideas where you are?
No.
Because I saw you looking around like meerkats.
We're trying to get our bearings as to sort of, well, no, the A1M is, over there, but that's about all.
Transport links aren't bad from here, but you know Pontefract, don't you?
Yes.
That's a mile and a half away.
Oh, wow.
But yet, listen. Birds and the odd dog.
It's gorgeous.
Now, it's not a huge property,
Right.
but when you get inside, I was pleasantly surprised with the room dimensions, but it's up to you.
Okay, let's have a look.
You're not smiling.
Yes.
Let's look inside.
There we go.
So, they like what they see outside, but what will they think of the interior?
Okay, a small entrance hall. Let's start in a lot of people's most important room. What do you think of the kitchen?
I like it. I like the feel of it. I like the wideness, because that's what we don't have. It's quite small, our kitchen at home.
Okay. Well, this is a pretty good start. I mean, I thought this might be different to what you're used to because it's not your period property.
No.
But it's we've got the dimensions that seem to be going down quite well.
It's been done out very nice.
Good. Well, those dimensions, hopefully you'll agree, continue next door in the living room. Follow me.
Good.
So there's real flow to this part of the house, isn't there?
Yeah.
And this living room is, I would say, sizable.
Yes, it is lovely.
I like the separate dining area. You can divide the room, but you're still together.
Yes.
Yeah. That feels nice.
Well, something I want to pick up on here, actually, Paul, that looking around, apart from maybe if you wanted to put your own style on here, like redecorating, there's not a lot of Paul DIY to be done here so far.
I'll find something.
Really? Is that right?
Oh, you will.
Oh, good.
Well, there won't be much work for him to do in the bedrooms either. The guest bedroom is well finished with plenty of storage, plus a further bedroom has been turned into a study. Then there's the main bedroom.
So the master bedroom.
This is a good size.
It is definitely a good size.
We have a very big bedroom at home at the moment.
Okay.
Which we love. And this is probably about the same size.
And obviously with its secret weapon, which you asked for.
Oh, wow.
Secret weapon, wow.
That's really nice. I like that.
It is.
Yeah.
It
But
is.
then you've also got the other bathroom at the other end of the property as well. So what do you think now? 2 bedrooms with the office.
Yeah, we'd have to make some adjustments.
Okay.
But obviously we're moving from a bigger house.
Yeah.
So we have to get rid of a few things.
Is there enough DIY for you here?
I don't think there would be.
No.
Not enough of a project for Paul, but hopefully the garden will provide a useful alternative.
Now, south-facing garden, I paced it out myself. It's over 100 foot, believe it or not.
Wow.
this is as big a garden as we've seen within your budget. So
Yes,
you're not going to be looking at land.
No.
This is more than big enough.
Big enough, yes.
More than big enough, yeah.
Now, for you, I know there's no DIY to be done inside the house. There is workshop space for you. You've got a garage next door.
Okay.
You've also got a summer house there. Now, I'm not sure what you want to do with that. There's 4 double power sockets in there. So it could be a great workshop. The fact that there is nothing to do to the house
Right.
Yeah.
may well have an influence on how much this house is on the market for. I'm going to ask you how much you think it is.
Okay.
I think it's at the top end of our budget.
Put a figure on it?
299?
299.
Yeah, I think probably about 280, 285.
Well, it's just been reduced. It was put on the market a year ago, just under £400,000. They then slashed it to 325,
Okay.
and a month ago they've reduced it again to 300. So look, why don't you go back inside the house, then maybe have a look at the summer house as well.
Sounds great.
All right,
Fantastic.
Johnny.
Thanks a lot.
So for £300,000, this house is a great opportunity for Paul and Linda to figure out what they can achieve with their budget. It's got a great garden, a good-sized kitchen and 3 bedrooms. But the compromise is there are no period features or DIY opportunities for Paul.
From my point of view, the property lacks, real character. We're used to sort of major features that were there when the house was built.
Oh, wow. This is like another room.
Yeah, I've sauna in here.
You could.
Looks,
You're not having this as your workshop, sorry.
that right?
You have to have the garage. The fixtures and fittings being new wouldn't bother me at all, but I think it would bother Paul. He's only very recently retired, so he's at home all the time, and I would be a little bit concerned about him having nothing to do.
Cricket field.
That's beautiful stone. I
is.
love the stone.
It is.
Now, also, I'm hoping that this is almost replicating the house you have now, but on a smaller scale.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
Because you said, you're looking to kind of downsize. You're used to semi-detached living, semi-detached stroke end terrace,
Yes.
but it's got the stone, and I know it's got some of the character that you like.
Okay.
That's great.
I'm hoping the fact that this property has more features than the first one we saw, including of course the Yorkshire stone Linda has her heart set on, will get a positive response. But it has something that will push Paul's buttons too. It needs a bit of work. First up, the dining room.
This house isn't lived in, okay?
Right.
I like it.
Taking it all in. What do you like about it? Because it's very different dimensions to the first house.
Very different dimensions to the first house, but it's got a real warmth about it as soon as you walk in, even though it's not lived in.
We changed obviously the units, those units, because they're more modern, but the rest of it, it's...
But it's not big. But you're still smiling, Linda. Why?
It just feels really nice.
Well, that's the kind of positive reaction I was after. They clearly see the potential of this property, and there's plenty here for Paul to get stuck into as well. With only a kitchen, diner and lounge on the ground floor, this house is much smaller than Paul and Linda are used to. But with some clever renovation, I'm hoping the space could work for them.
Now the living room is very different to the living room we saw in the first house I showed you this morning. This is when reality bites, isn't it? A downsize. Now you didn't ask me for big, you asked me for character,
Yes.
stone built and a village location.
It is really quite small.
Yes. It's,
I'm not even sure we would get our furniture in here.
No.
No.
Well, the ground floor seems a stretch for them, but maybe I'll have better luck upstairs. One thing this house does have is the requisite 3 bedrooms. They're not quite the size our buyers are used to, and they do need some cosmetic work, but they all have good natural light and views.
Now up on the first floor, the bathroom, we need a new one.
Yes.
The tiles are in surprisingly good shape for an old property though.
Yeah.
Now this room, obviously you're going to want to keep it the same colour.
Oh.
My goodness.
But apart from the colour, I mean, is this space sufficient for you?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yes.
Good.
I don't think this is a problem.
Linda's remaining open-minded. There's one more room for me to show them.
Okay, master bedroom.
Again, it's really quite small.
Yes.
It's very small. It wouldn't fit our bed in here, would it?
No.
Well, that's a disappointing response from our buyers, so I guess the outside space is my last throw of the dice. There's a really good sized outhouse which Paul could use as a workshop, and a fair sized garden with some mature trees and shrubs. But will the price be right?
You've seen it's a character cottage in this lovely village, but you've also seen that there's some work to be done.
Yes.
How much do you think this is on the market for, Linda?
I would like to think it was somewhere around the 270 maybe.
I think that they're probably more 290, 295, something like that.
Well, it's almost split the camp. It's on the market for offers around £285,000.
That wouldn't give us a huge amount to be able to do the renovations that we'd need.
When you go back into the property, I'm sure you're going to be knocking on walls and pricing up what you can do here, there and everywhere. Have a good walk around the place, but really start to get a feel of the dimensions.
Yes.
Because that's what's going to help you make your mind up on whether this place is for you or not.
Yep.
Okay,
Agree.
that's great.
All right?
Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you
I'll
very
catch you
much.
later on. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For £285,000, Paul and Linda could have a property located in one of West Yorkshire's most popular locations. It's made of Yorkshire stone, it's got 3 bedrooms and a shed for Paul to do his DIY. But how do our buyers feel about the renovation it needs?
You know, it's something that Linda and I are going to have to seriously sit down and discuss as to within the finances available, not only to purchase but also to alter to our, liking, and put our rubber stamp on it, so to speak.
I love the house. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's the Yorkshire stone we wanted. It has all the character features.
Day draws to a close across the fields of West Yorkshire. Our buyers have certainly got a lot to think about. Let's hope sleeping on it will provide the inspiration they both need.
Well, all in all, a pretty good day yesterday. Certainly a good start for Linda and Paul with great reactions in the first property. But for me, it wasn't until the afternoon that they both really came alive. And that's because they got 2 of the main things. They got the village location, but also they got the stone-built property with all that character inside. Now today, hopefully after a good night's sleep, they've had something to think about yesterday, but also they're looking forward to seeing the mystery property. And I think Linda, for one, is certainly here. Now then, have you seen any properties for sale here?
Yes.
Have you? Have you looked at any in person?
No.
And you were put off by these properties for why?
Because they're walking distance to work.
Well, I found you a property that is walking distance to work that I think once you get inside, you both could quite possibly fall in love with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's have a look.
Open mind.
Thank you, Paul. You said open mind. I'm holding you to that.
So I've taken a risk. Fingers crossed.
The mystery property is always a risk. It's always a gamble. But I had to show you this because it looks amazing.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Do you want to look inside?
Let's go.
Please.
Good. You're still smiling anyway. Okay. Straight into the kitchen, through the back door, which is quite common in these old cottages. What are we thinking?
It's a gorgeous country
Yes.
kitchen.
It is very
Isn't it
nice.
just?
Really
Yes.
pretty.
Now the house itself dates back to 1670.
Wow.
And you do see that in some of the places, some of the windows certainly.
Yes.
I think you just have this as it is, with a breakfast bar, because you have a separate dining room the first time,
Good.
just off there on the second door.
This is big enough for us. It's bigger than what we already have.
Yes.
So
Okay, good.
that's good.
Well, the response to the kitchen diner was just what I was looking for. I'm hoping the spacious living room will match up.
Now, for such an old building, I thought the dimensions in this room were fairly surprising.
This is beautiful.
Yes.
It is. This is just what we sort of expected a country cottage to look like.
Right.
The ground floor also has the benefit of a bright bathroom. Upstairs there's another family bathroom servicing the 3 first floor bedrooms, the smallest of which has great period features with a wall of exposed stone. There's also a good sized second bedroom, but will the spacious master impress them?
This room really surprised me. It's one of 3 bedrooms.
Wow.
This is much bigger than I expected it to be.
Goodness, it is.
These are almost Georgian proportions, aren't they?
There. And lovely high ceilings,
Yes.
even though you're upstairs.
And a lovely window seat.
Yeah, and views over that
Overlooking the
wonderful
Heath.
green, or Heath rather, yeah.
There's one final surprise in store for Paul and Linda.
This requires a certain knack. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Follow me.
I think this adds something really special to the mystery house.
Now then.
Wow. This is not what I expected, Johnny.
This is definitely not what I expected.
It's a house full of
My
surprises.
goodness.
Come right in here, look, this is a big room. It gets even bigger through here. Mind your head. Look at this.
Oh, wow.
My goodness.
This is amazing.
Like a rabbit's warren, isn't it?
Yeah. As it is, it's a fantastic space.
Yes.
But you've got to mangle around with that ladder. But it's previously had planning consent
Yeah.
to put a staircase in the third bedroom. Now here's the idea. Whilst you may not be enjoying the idea of living so close to work, the market here is very flat, we know that. But you could add value to this house over time, so do as much of the work yourself as you can, therefore you're not committing to a bigger budget. And then at the end of it, you've got potentially a 4-bedroom end of terrace house overlooking the heath.
Yes.
So this property could provide a really interesting project for Paul, if the garden fits the bill too.
So, pretty garden. What do we think?
My goodness.
It's not the biggest of gardens.
But no, it's not massive, but then you also got the heath next door and massive countryside.
Yeah. That's the difference here, is that you can see the countryside outside, so your garden doesn't end with where the fence is.
No. Now you probably know this quite well, this village certainly. I'll ask you to guess how much it is, and then we'll get on to Linda. So Paul.
Say it's definitely at the top end of our budget. But I'd say over it, probably about 310, 315, something like that.
I think do you know how much it is on the market for?
I think I was told it was on the market for 320.
Well, near enough. It's on the market for 325.
Right.
It's been on the market for a long time. It initially came in the market at 415.
Goodness.
That doesn't surprise me.
In the market,
Yeah.
point market, I could see that happening.
Coming in at £325,000, this surprising mystery cottage offers an eat-in kitchen, 2 reception rooms, 3 fair-sized bedrooms and views over the heath. It is £25,000 over budget, but it would definitely give them more space than they'd expected and a project for Paul to get stuck into.
As we arrived into the heath and drove immediately past where I work, my first thoughts were, this is just too close. Then when we came in the kitchen, the first impression you get is that it's such an amazing place and it has everything we asked for.
If this place was 5 miles down the road or, 10 miles down the road.
They have enjoyed their fair share of ups and downs in their quest to find their very own escape to the country here in West Yorkshire. Each of the 3 properties were so different, but also gave them an element of compromise. Because of this, it's really hard to tell whether any of them will be their favourite. Time to find out. Now then, how are you both?
We're
fine.
fantastic, thank you very much.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Day 1, the first property, converted stables, let's call them. What are your thoughts now you've come away?
I actually was really impressed. Really nice feel. It had the stone outside that we really wanted.
The dimensions inside lent themselves to perhaps not even downsizing a great deal.
No.
I mean, you were talking about moving all of your existing furniture into the house, weren't you?
Yes.
What about the downsides?
There's nothing for me to do.
No. No, true.
I mean, it's, we could think of a few things, but, nothing major. That you could-
Upkeep, not
there's
renovation,
nothing to do.
certainly. Okay, now the second property, in my opinion, you became a lot more animated there.
It was beautiful. When we were standing on the pavement, I was really quite excited at what we were going to see.
You could tell you were.
Yes, it wasn't the size that I perhaps anticipated.
The price was such that it wouldn't have left us with a huge amount of capital to do those things either.
No.
We'd have had to do them over a long period of time, and it's whether we could have lived with it in the meantime.
Okay, this morning, the mystery property. Now, it all went very quiet in the car. One of the tasks you charged me with, if you like, was that you wanted to cut your commute time. And the closer we got to work, the more I realised I've maybe cut it a little bit too much.
Just a little.
Yeah. To me, that was almost the only compromise that I could see you making, because it had everything else once you could get yourself through the door.
In bucketfuls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, in bucketfuls.
It was an outstanding property.
Do you have a favourite out of the 3 properties?
We do.
You do?
We do. Property number 3.
The mystery property! After all of that!
After all of that.
Well, look, what do you want to do about the mystery property? I know it's your favourite. What's the next step for you guys?
Well, I've had a word with the owner, and we're going to come back and have a second viewing. So we're going to see how it goes from there.
Yes.
Well, look, good luck with your second viewing.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck, and keep in touch. It's funny, isn't it? If you would have asked me this morning which of the 3 properties I thought Linda and Paul would go for, I don't think I'd have given you the answer of the mystery house. But in being open-minded and walking around that wonderful building, they're able to fall in love with a potential new home that gave them absolutely everything. you.